All right, guys, good morning. So here we are. We've got the triple Qs off and running. It's been pretty productive so far today. We've got lots and lots of opportunities because the market is like a sidewinder, right? So it's just a sideways market again. And actually, where most people, think what they want to catch are these big trend moves. The reality is there's a lot of potential profitability to be found right there when the market is consolidating. So that's the reason that we wait in our time zone until 8:30 in the morning to even start looking at this stuff. I don't pull up a chart of the Qs until 11:30 Eastern, and the whole point of that is let the market settle in, let all the morning craziness happen, and then start isolating where these opportunities are sort of in real time as we're going on. I mean, right now it's just after 10 a.m. I've had 4 trades, I think maybe 5 trades already, which is a little bit heavier than usual. So generally speaking, these things play out a little bit more over the course of the day. But the charts have just really been adding up today. Yesterday was nothing, right? Yesterday there were 2 trades, and it was all on the heels of that Fed speak stuff. So that makes it very difficult to trade. I say stay away from the geopolitical stuff. It's almost always going to be your enemy. And the easiest way to stay in front of opportunity is just to focus what's on the charts and follow along. You guys are going to learn all about this stuff at the Super Vol Sunday event a week from this Sunday. It's coming right up, so we're almost there in Las Vegas, Nevada. Those of you who are live streaming, same thing. We're going to go through how these things are built, how it is that I go through and isolate the volatility and what it is that I'm looking for when I put these trades together. So let's take a look at the charts here and see what it is that I see happening today and where I've been putting my energy. So obviously, we had a liftoff this morning. Market really liked that economic news. The market likes, the notion of interest rates not continuing to rise in some sort of an unlimited spiral. And what we got as a result was this push higher into the first hour of trading. And you can see that those zones that we look for develop pretty quickly. So as it was moving higher, we had these 2 anchored VWAPs. Really not much you could do with these in terms of finding a trade. So as I said, I'm not really even looking for a trade until a little bit later. Today I was in here at about 10:30 or 11 o'clock, and lo and behold, what I saw was opportunity in the form of these pullbacks to confluence. So you had nice confluence here because, as you guys know, Realtic has this proprietary algorithmic kind of a scaling of volume by price. I've been using it for years. I talked to them when they were developing it, gave them ideas, and, they've given me plenty of ideas over time. So what we saw was this cluster right here lined up very nicely with this pivot line right here, and also that natural support and resistance that's right in that same area. And then as the morning went on, you can see that early in the session, these 2 standard deviation bands were pretty wide. That's because we had residual effects of the data that's still being analyzed from yesterday's session. So yesterday's session is going to take these things, drag them lower, and then when trading stabilizes over the course of our day today, you're going to see nice tight bands like this that imply, anyways, that when price makes a move up to the top band, it's going to make a move back toward this average. And mean reversion just says you're going to keep moving back into this average price until we get an expansion of the range, at which point what you're going to see is these bands are going to start moving apart. And hopefully it'll be in an uptrend or a downtrend, and then what we'll do is start looking for more opportunities to back into these trades. So we had good opportunities early in the session. So the ones that I've talked to you about already were, 316.76 up to that 45 area, actually a little bit shy of that, right? So you'd want to go, I'm picking them up as they're coming down to the pivot line. So when it comes into 316.80, 84, somewhere in there. I was talking to one of you earlier. That's where I had a buy on it. And then, 317.45, you really want to get out sort of 317.40 if you're me. You do whatever you want to do. But I'm telling you, for me, I like just playing these travel ranges and catching them as they move through them. Then we had this move higher, which met resistance right there. And we had a VWAP form. So we've got an anchored VWAP again. And that one is right here, right? So that anchored VWAP gave us a really good place to say, if price gets down, below here, then we're going to want to stop out on any trades that we're taking up in this higher part of the range. So the focus, once we broke up and started consolidating again, it's in the box. So trade set up, the Qs are in the box. We had a 317.45 entry this time with a target up at around 87. So again, about 40 cents per share traded. That's a decent amount of money, especially when you consider that it's the fourth trade today, and we haven't seen one yet that didn't do what we expected it to do. So lots and lots of that sideways consolidation. I'm going to tell you, it's a good time right now to start focusing on, this guy right here, this VWAP, this session VWAP. It's moving up into the data. So as that starts to converge with some of these other guys, right, you're going to see a stronger reaction at that pivot probably than you are anywhere else, at least in the near future, because as it gets up into R2, it's going to be less and less likely that we're going to see an extension that's much further than that. So it's highly unusual for the market in any security to trade beyond beyond second resistance or second support. And you saw that yesterday, made that blast, just that giant move lower, and everybody thought the thing was going to, go and retest lows that we haven't seen in a long time. I had people asking me if we were headed down into here. And I just said, we're going to have to give it some time because the market is pretty extended here. And, once it gets into those second floor trader pivot sets, then you have a very high probability anyways that price is going to start reverting back into the ranges. So you tend to stay between R1 and R2 on a day like this. Could happen, anything can happen, but let's see if we're not right about the directionality of this. The other thing is, again, right, the stochastics, the way that I use these things is the way that George Lane intended them to be used, which is as an indicator of trend strength. And when you see them sort of flattening out like this in the top of the range, this does not mean overbought. This means you've got a strong propensity for this thing to stay up high, and until it makes a hard cross and shows us a big move to the downside on the fast stochastic followed by the red line there, I wouldn't be trying to read into market reversals. I talked to one of our guys this morning who had a particularly difficult time. He shorted Apple at the open, and he's been short all day, and he says, well, it just has to come down. And I said, well, why does it have to come down? And he said, because it's up so high. So I said, so because something's strong, you think it has to be weak? That doesn't really make sense. And he said, you're right. So it's easy to figure out that you did the wrong thing once you start losing a lot of money, but it's a much better habit to look at what's right in front of you and not try to fade what the market's doing. Just go in there, try to figure out where the price action is, where it's been going, and then look for the opportunities in the pullbacks to pockets of strength. Unless we get some kind of weird news or some kind of earth-shattering event or something, the likelihood here is that for the next couple of hours anyways, we are going to stay in the range that we've been in and get some nice tradable pullbacks back down to those support and resistance levels, especially when they're confluent with the support and resistance lines that we drew. We've got the volatility bands in place. We've got the 2 standard deviation of volatility, or 2 standard deviation of price you can use for, as I said before, for this chart here. You can simulate or come pretty darn close to what I usually have on the screen by using 14-period Bollinger Bands. Matter of fact, that's what I've got plotted this time as an envelope with 14 periods of closing price. That's the average line in the middle, and then the top line and the bottom line, 2 standard deviations from that average. Likely thing that it's going to do when it hits the top line, revert back down to that average. Likely thing it's going to do when it hits the bottom line, move back up to that average. I'm not shorting the top line. Trend is up. right? When the stock is net negative on the day, I'll look for moves lower. When a stock is net positive on the day, I'm always looking for moves higher. It's just the way that makes sense. You want to be on the same side of the market as the market, right? We're not trying to beat the house here, John. We're trying to figure out where the market's been, where it's likely to go, and where the strength is coming from, where the volume by price is lined up. Look at these pockets. Always try to figure out, right, where these histograms are forming, and those things are going to be some of the best indications that you have of where you're going to find serious support if price starts moving against you. And then what you have to do is evaluate if it gets down, and and I'm long here, and it gets down below here. Am I willing to stop out, or am I going to have to stay in until it gets down to here? Where is it that I'm convinced that the trend is going to be violated? And if this is too big of a stop, then don't take the trade. If this is where you think the stop has to be, and you say, I'm not willing to risk that much to gain this much, right? I'm not willing to go this far against me to gain this other leg up here, then don't take it. Just wait for the next one. Wait until you get a more suitable stop. Personally, right now, I'm using this anchored VWAP as the stop out on these trades. So 45 up to 87 again. Just happened while we were doing the video. It's all good stuff. And I think that, if you just sort of follow what the market's doing, you're going to have an easy time trading this baby today. All right, so that's the update. We're going to keep watching for support and resistance. We're going to keep watching for confluence. Keep this stuff right in front of you. Just stay frosty, stay on top of it. And, it's looking like the rest of the day is going to be pretty much like the start of the day. And that spells lots and lots of good opportunity for everybody. All right, so I will see everybody tomorrow morning. If there's anything to update, I will update you guys a little bit later. But for now, that's the game plan. All right, have a great trading day.